You're enjoying Doc Green on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Well, one hopes you're enjoying Doc Green on RagingElePhantsRadio.com. Yes, we do. I have on the phone Larry Keilberg. Did I say that right, Larry?
Well, it's Keilberg, but I'll go by Keilberg. Depends if you know German or not.
We're going to do it right, Keilberg. It is.
Yeah, that's right.
Larry Keilberg. All right. Well, we love good German names around here. So most of my heritage happens to be German, even though my last name Green is British. But we know how all that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, you're with the selfdefensefund.com. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That's correct. That's a fund that's a $1 million fund that's maintained by the membership of the National Association for Legal Gun Defense. And you might wonder why we need another association, but here briefly I explain to you this way: like the National Rifle Association, they are the Texas State Rifle Association. Those two are legislative associations. They protect your rights to your Second Amendment rights to own a weapon. However, there's no association out there except for us that protects your rights if you use a weapon. That's why it's called the National Association for Legal Gun Defense. But it's a $1 million fund.
I have to let people know the Texas State Rifle Association is probably about the most worthless operation I can think of when it comes to gun rights in Texas. There's nobody there that even understands the issue. And so I strongly urge you that if you're putting your money in the Texas State Rifle Association, to please put it somewhere else, like Open Carry Texas, Lone Star Gun Rights.
We support Open Carry Texas. As a matter of fact, we've had several OCT members that we have defended. Terry Holcomb is one of them. He was our member, and we went to court at least 5 times on him. And he was no billed. It was he didn't have anything.
He didn't break any laws.
Well, we know that, but the establishment has a different opinion of that.
You know? Is that how it works?
As you know, also C.J. Grisham was one of our, and we're still in court on that. That's been going on for 4 years. We're still in appeals court, and all that was just over attitude. That's all that was about.
Yeah, well, you know what? I understand the law enforcement side of this thing. And one of the things they hate is when people get all uppity and start thinking they have some sort of constitutional right just because they live in the Republic of Texas.
That's the worst thing you can do is start talking constitutional rights to a police officer. Now, don't take what I'm saying as anti-cop. I'm pro-police. I'm anti-abuse of power. There's an old saying in the police department, and it's all based upon the attitude. If you can beat this rap, but you're not going to beat the ride that you're about to get, and the ride is based upon attitude.
No, you're absolutely right. You can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride. And of course, correct. In the old days, you couldn't escape the beating while you got on the ride.
Well, sometimes that comes with it. It depends upon your attitude towards the police officer, which I advise you to be nice, and because they respond generally in kind. But what we found in this Open Carry Texas movement that was started by Holcomb and by Grisham. The police resisted that very aggressively. They resisted it. And we've defended many people in that have been in that movement.
Well, you've got to be aware of these guys. And I think most people are. Most people understand that today we live in a situation where, and I'm going to include myself in this, I live in a situation where I never thought I would ever be in trouble with the law because that was never my intent. I never set out to have a problem with law enforcement or break the law of any kind. But now we live in a situation where simply standing up for your God-given rights can put you at odds with the law because the law and the people that we have placed in charge no longer respect God or your God-given rights. Your thoughts? I
would agree with that wholeheartedly. Yes, sir. I would agree that we seem to be lost faith in God. We've lost prayer in schools. We've lost. I'm really concerned about the direction of America. I'm really concerned about the direction we're going.
Well, I think that's a righteous concern. We're talking with Larry Keilberg, selfdefensefund.com. And guys, you really have to think about this. Do I want something like that in my arsenal? I mean, I carry my pistol on my hip. I carry my 2 extra mags because I understand that if my weapon malfunctions, I may need to drop that bad mag and insert another one. Would it not also be wise as part of your daily carry kit to carry a little defense?
Yes, it would. I will. I'll give you an example. I teach at the Winchester Gun Gallery in Fort Worth. There's a CHL, or licensed carry is what it's called now, class 2 times a week, and I use an example in that, and I will briefly share that example with you, which defines the purpose of being a member of a litigation association, like the Self-Defense Fund. And that is, I believe O.J. Simpson killed his wife. The overwhelming evidence said that he did. All of his actions said that he did, but the jury said that he didn't. What was the difference?
It was the first example of jury nullification I've ever seen.
Yes, but why? How did the jury get nullified? Because he had a very, very expensive lawyer dream team.
He did indeed.
And that's what we offer. That's the whole. It's sad to say that organizations like and associations like ours are now needed in America. 10 years ago, and before that, there was no need for organizations like this. But now then, when you're in the system, that's what we provide. We provide the dream team. We pay attorneys to aggressively defend you. And that's available on our website. When you go to selfdefensefund.com, you can see some of our cases that we've had in the past. We also have a contractual agreement that we're the only ones that posted up front. It says, this is what we will do when you're a member of our association. This is what we will help you with. We give you the dream team when you have an altercation with the law. And it's with the guns now, and there is a major push on the part of the federal government to disarm America. There is a major push.
You noticed that?
Yes. It's very clear.
Well, I don't know if you heard the earlier part of my show, but I talked about showing up. We're broadcasting live from Dallas today, Larry Keilberg, with the selfdefensefund.com. And I'm at the Nilo Hotel down here on the south side of Dallas. And when I walk in, they got 30.07 signs. And I'm telling you, there's some poor guy sitting at the bar in there having a Manhattan, and he about crapped his pants when he seen me covering my pistol with my shirt as I walked in to comply with the 30.07.
Sure. Well, that doesn't cover the 30.06 sign, which means that you can still carry, but it's concealed. You just need to put on a shirt or a jacket to cover it up.
Well, that's what I did.
I'd rather have a
drop my shirt over
and not need it than have a need and not have it.
Indeed, but as you point out on your website, I mean, we're in interesting times. You know, you might get assaulted, you might get raped. By the way, even guys get raped. Don't forget that they get raped by other guys because the violent homosexual movement's very alive and well. There are people that get robbed every year, and the very act of you simply defending yourself against that assault could land you in jail. Is that not true, Larry Keilberg?
Absolutely true. Now, most associations, and we do have competitors, by the way, and there's people know a lot about the one that's based in Houston as well. But other associations only cover handguns. Now, the reason we call it the Self-Defense Fund is we cover pepper spray, stun gun, knives, knife, fork, spoon, stick, stone, rock, anything that you use in self-defense. Because those are weapons, according to the law, especially if you use it to harm another person. Now, what we have found is most people know about criminal, and what we're talking about is criminal if you injure another person, but most people do not think about the civil litigation side of it. Even though you are absolutely 100% right, the criminal can come back and sue you civilly. And that's happened many, many, many times. If where robbers have broken into someone's house, they assault the family defends themselves, injures the criminal later comes back and sues the homeowner and collects on the home, and the homeowner has to defend himself.
And so ultimately the robber gets in court 100 times more than he would have ever gotten in the actual robbery itself.
Yes, absolutely. Those are very real cases. So we cover both criminal and civil. Matter of fact, you need to worry about the civil case more than you do the criminal case. Because if you're in your home... But Larry Keilberg,
I assume you are actually a lawyer, Larry.
No, I'm the assistant to Blue Ranfeld, who is the Ranfeld and Associates. I'm the office manager and assistant to that. But we have the lawyers in all 50 states, but it's the Ranfeld Association. Now, why people say, well, why would you have be in this organization? Is because, well, as on the board of directors, I can say anything about any case. The lawyers are sometimes gagged, but they're restricted by. So if you ask the attorney, he said, "Well, I can't comment on that." Well, I don't have a license to protect.
I see.
So that's why I'm there. That's why I'm able to talk to you freely on the radio and talk to you about things. Because I don't have a fiduciary responsibility.
Well, I'm glad of that. But here's where I was going with that, Larry Keilberg, with the selfdefensefund.com. Here's where I was going with that. It's isn't it a violation of the Constitution of double jeopardy to bring someone to court twice for the same item?
No, it's been criminal and civil. Well, let's go back to the O.J. Simpson case. He was no billed, found not guilty on the criminal side, yet he was sued multiple times on the civil side. And when did he lose? When he ran out of money, because he starts selling off his memorabilia to pay his attorneys. And that's so any person can sue you anytime, anywhere for a civil suit.
For anything.
You're not for anything. It doesn't make any difference. And I will give you a perfect example. A case in Oklahoma. A man broke into a house. A homeowner shot the person with a shotgun, injured his left arm. Matter of fact, paralyzed the left arm of the criminal. The police arrive, and of course the homeowner is no bill, because even though the police arrive, you still have to go before the grand jury, because the police cannot determine guilt or innocence. That's not their job.
Right.
They put you in the system. Then once you're in the system, the only person that can no bill you is the county prosecutor or the district attorney or the prosecution, or if it goes to the grand jury, they can no bill you and nothing happens. That still leaves civil lawsuits open, and what happened in this case is the criminal come back and sued the homeowner for paying something, an injury, because he's paralyzed in his left arm.
Yeah, he can't break into houses anymore. It's too difficult.
Yes,
he's got
believe
one
it or
bad
not,
arm.
that is now what's terrible about that is an attorney that to take that suit. But there's a lot of hungry, greedy attorneys out there. Hate to say it, but
well, there are. We're turning them out by the tens of thousands, and quite frankly, I mean, they're no different than any man. They have to provide for their families. So
I agree, and if someone walked in with a check and says, "I want to sue you," they're not on salary. They're paid by their commission salespeople. So if you walk in, they're going to take the money and put you in the system. For a $60 filing fee, I can ruin your life.
Yes, and that is the sad fact of where we currently live. Now, Larry Keilberg of the selfdefensefund.com, strongly recommend you guys go there and check it out. Have you read that fabulous book by Tommy Attaway called We Defy yet?
I have not personally read it, no.
You should get that book, We Defy. You can get it on Amazon.com, written by Tommy Attaway, a Texas author. And in Fredonia, we wouldn't need a guy like you because things are different in Fredonia. But the truth is, guys, we don't live in Fredonia. We don't. We live in a world where nearly 2,000 people every day, men, women, and children, are assaulted and murdered. And if you so much as lift a hand to defend yourself and damage that poor little darling robber, like I say, he could get from you 100 times what he would have ever gotten in the original assault. And I think that a lot of them calculated that and know it to be a fact.
Oh, absolutely. The criminals know the law and use the law. Actually, the law will work harder for you than it will against you if you know the law.
If you know the law. But you've got to have somebody that knows how to use it. And what's the old
know
adage?
How to use it because they're in the system all the time.
Yeah, they've seen how it works. What's the old adage, though? That a man that represents himself in court has a fool for a client.
Yes.
So I would strongly recommend you guys give this some consideration. So what kind of money are we talking about if somebody decides they want to get something like this? Because I can tell you, I do have something from one of your competitors, and I carry it for the simple reason I totally understand that should, God forbid, I ever have to draw my weapon in a serious situation, the risk that I'm taking. And so for that reason, I pay a monthly fee every month to protect myself. So what kind of money are we talking about if people want to become a member of the selfdefensefund.com?
We keep it very, very simple, and if you pay by the month, it's $12.50 by the month or by the year, which is $150 per year. It's a one-time fee. We cover you in all 50 states, all U.S. territories, and you might say, well, why U.S. territories? Because there's a lot of military people in territories like Guam, the Marshall Islands, Puerto Rico, stuff like that. So those are all U.S. territories. So we're covered in the Virgin Islands as well. So you're covered there if you're in the military or if you're not in the military. We also cover tribal lands, which say, well, why would you cover Indian tribal lands? Well, I'll give you an example. If you're in Texas and you drive up to the casino in Oklahoma, and you leave Interstate 35, as soon as you leave that 35, you're no longer in the state of Oklahoma. You're in sovereign Indian territory. And you say, well, you cannot carry a weapon in those. Those are prohibited areas, and they have their own police force. Yes, that's true. But here's what happens. Criminals don't care what the law is. Let's suppose that you drive up there.
I have noticed that.
Yes. You drive up there for dinner and a show, and you're walking through the parking lot, and a gambler decides they're going to recover their gambling losses from you. And generally, they have a weapon. You wrestle with the person. The weapon ends up in your hand, goes off, shoots a Native American Indian worker. You think you're going to be in Oklahoma court? No, you're going to be in tribal court.
Wow.
They have their own police, their own laws, and most people don't think of that, So it's, we kept it very, very simple. It's, $12.50 a month, and it's a membership. You get an ID card that says you're protected, an emergency call-in number that's open 24/7. and there's no add-ons, no fees. We cover 100% of everything, and we have a very provable track record, which is, I've just told you a couple of those cases already, who people that we have represented. So we kept it very simple. And briefly, I'm tell you that we have a booth over at the Self-Reliance Expo that's going to be at the Irving Convention Center this Friday and Saturday. And we have a booth
Friday
set
in
up
Irving. There. Now that's not the same place where the Republican Party convention is taking place.
No, this is the Irving Convention Center.
Okay.
The Irving Convention Center.
But if you're in town for the Republican Party convention and you're not required for a vote somewhere, if you're not a delegate, you could swing over to Irving. It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, it's 500 West Las Colinas Boulevard in Irving, and we will have a booth set up there, and our chief counsel attorney will be there, Blue Rantel, and he's available to answer legal questions. It's not very often that you get to ask very expensive attorney legal questions for free.
There you go.
So we will be there, and we'll hand out brochures. We have some free publications as well that we'll hand out, and about self-defense and about the law and what's going to happen to you the defense of self-defense. It's a very informative publication that's free. So we could come see us. We're over a booth there at it's called the Self-Reliance Expo.
The Self-Reliance Expo, it's going to be in Irving, and that is this Friday, and I assume it's going over to Saturday, too.
Yes, Friday and Saturday. It starts noon on the Friday and goes all day on Saturday. Yeah, and the tickets are just $10. That's for both days, so it's $5 a day, $10 per.
Well,
so it's very informative. Very informative.
Most, if not all, of my listeners are very into self-defense. I can tell you, as I'm looking at the chat room, everyone in there is in self-defense mode. Yeah, Cutler, I think he's actually got a little Choctaw blood in him, as a matter of fact. And he's pointing out that would be the Choctaw Indian tribe up there in Oklahoma. So I think all of you guys really, you should go to the selfdefensefund.com, selfdefensefund.com. We're talking with Larry Keilberg, and quite frankly, $12.50 a month's not a whole lot of money for a whole lot of protection.
We've kept it very, very, very simple. We do not have any add-ons. Except for if you want to add on a spouse, that's just another $5. Then you can add on dependents, which is another $5. Now, here's what a lot of people are doing, especially with college-age children. Campus crime is very, very real, and it's increasing more and more and more. So if you're a individual and you sign up as head of household, it's $12.50. If you want to add your spouse on there or significant other, it's an extra $5. If you want to add your dependent children on there, it's an extra $5. Every one of those has the same rights and privileges as the head of household has for the $12.50. And we published our terms and conditions up front. You can read them, everything that what we will cover. And this is published on our website. Just go to our website, selfdefensefund.com, and in the cost, you'll see a drop-down box that says terms and conditions. Print that out, read it at your convenience.
Well, guys, I'd strongly recommend you go to selfdefensefund.com and check that out. Do not take Cutler's advice. Cutler said just shoot him in the kneecaps and run. I don't recommend you do that.
Well, that's going to open you up for a very lengthy and expensive civil lawsuit if that happens. And if you have assets, of course your homestead is protected, but if you have a second home or you have assets past, the law hasn't changed in Texas. I think it's one house, one car, and 3 cows. That's what.
There you go. Well, one guy in the chat room said, if you break into my house, this is going to be like the 4th of July.
Well, Ken says I don't disagree with that, and as a matter of fact, you should aggressively defend your loved ones. Yes, I agree with that. But if you do, in today's society, you are going to be in the system.
Be
and
prepared to
you're going
defend yourself at a court of law.
You need to be prepared to defend yourself, and that's where you need the dream team, because lawyers are not free, and good lawyers are expensive. You know, the public defender, you do not want the public defender.
No, you do not, because for one thing, the public defender who has been properly educated in a liberal law firm, he already doesn't like you.
Yes,
I mean, if you had robbed a donut shop, you would get a better defense than you would for killing a thug trying to rob you.
Right.
So the last thing you want is the public defender. So guys, you can go to selfdefensefund.com, and that's Larry Keilberg's organization. You can sign up there, and like I say, an individual membership is just $12.50 a month, and become a part of that, and know that should something bad ever happen to you, you will be prepared to deal with it. At least it will not totally destroy you financially. I can tell you what they told me when I was taking gun training out in Nevada. They said, look, if you ever shoot somebody, it's going to ruin your life. It's going to ruin your life, even if it was justified. So make sure that it's worth it. And I strongly urge all of you to remember that. Shooting somebody is never a good thing to do. But there are certain points in time when that is also the only option. And if if it's going to be you or them, it should be them. And you need to be able to. Go ahead.
I agree. Let's take another real-time scenario, and let's get the word gun. You know, most people, when they hear the word gun, they freak out and their mind just shuts down when they hear the word gun. Let's talk about alternative non-lethal weapons, which is pepper spray, stun gun. Let's use a real-time example. Let's use Aurora, Colorado. You're in the movie. You're in there. You do not have your guns with you because they have the signs posted in Colorado, no guns. No one had a gun in there except the criminal. All right. Well, most women carry pepper spray. Let's in a very crowded room. Let's say that someone used pepper spray, and it goes out not in a straight line, but it hits a innocent person, and that innocent person happens to be a severe asthmatic, and puts him into an asthmatic convulsion or something and can't breathe. And do you think that person is not going to sue you?
Wow.
Sure they are.
I never even considered that. But, you're right. You're right.
Yes, sure. Yeah. If you are in an active shooter situation, their adrenaline runs high. Do you know the statistics are, as much as police officers train to hit the target, and statistically only 1 bullet in 9 actually hits the target when they actually have to pull out their gun and shoot. And that's on a trained police officer. So if you're in an active shooter situation and you're in a situation like Luby's Cafeteria in Killeen, like Aurora, Colorado, like here in Texas, in a couple of places here in Texas, and your intention and what you're trained to do in your license to carry is actually shoot the person you're aiming at. But a lot of times you shoot an innocent person. Well, don't you think you're going to be sued? Sure you are. Well, that's why you need a protection like we offer. That's what you need. You've got to have the dream team on your side.
I guarantee you will get sued. There's no getting around it. That's the society we live in.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
So we're talking with Larry Keilberg of the selfdefensefund.com. $12.50 a month to become a member. Guys, seriously, I think that you should do this. I already have insurance with another group, but for $12.50 a month, I'm thinking it'd be a good idea to maybe carry a little double indemnity there. Your thoughts, Larry Keilberg?
Actually, there's 7 groups out there, and we've all started about the same time. We've been in business 5 years now and have a very successful track record. There's 7 of them, and I encourage people to do their due diligence. Don't take what I say for granted. Do your due diligence. Look at the fine print. Look at what they offer. Stuff like that. We're not the only person that offers that, but we're the only person or only organization that publishes and has an actual contract that you can read, and we say up front, this is what we will do. You find that on any other organization, but I encourage you to do your due diligence. Pick the one that's the best for you.
That's what you should do, guys. And Larry Keilberg, I mean, why did you get involved with this? What caused you to do this? I mean, you just need a job, or did you have some other reasons?
Yeah, other reasons, because I saw a trend of, I've done very well in my life, and mostly in the oil and gas business. And, some time ago, I put together a group of people that originally started this organization, this association, to provide one thing, and that is, provide the people who can least afford it the dream team. Because we saw what was happening. We saw the deterioration. We saw the attacks on America. We saw the attacks by the federal government of trying to disarm America. So what you need when you're use a weapon of any kind, what you need is strong legal representation on your behalf. And most people can't afford it. It's very, very time consuming, and it's very, very, very expensive. So that's the whole reason for this association.
Well, guys, I would strongly recommend you give this in consideration. And I do want to thank my buddy Andy Valadez for sending me your information and getting you in here today, because I was unaware of it. But I'm definitely going to sign up myself, and I'd strongly urge some of you guys to do it. Now, I want to make sure that we have good information here, because yesterday I got a call from a guy, and he said, Doc Green, he said, I'm not sure I know you, but you keep sending people to my company, and we don't do what you're sending them over here to do. And it turns out that I had an old phone number, and this guy somewhat ended up with it. And so here I am sending him all these clients, and for stuff he doesn't do it, he finally gets around to actually finding my phone number and calling me. So how should people contact you or get involved with this? What's the best way to go about it, Larry Keilberg?
Our phone numbers, all contact information is published on the website under Contact Us. However, the company telephone number is 682-238-8161. That's and then, of course, selfdefensefund.com. All of our contact information is there. You can email us, call us.
One more time with that phone number, 682.
682-238. 8161.
8161. That's for the Self-Defense Fund. I just posted that in the chat room for the chat cats. I mean, $12.50 a month.
That's our office, the office number, and most of the time you will get me. Sometimes you'll get Trish Naylor, who is in the office as well. Sometimes you'll get Blue Ranfeld, who's chief counsel attorney, or you can make an appointment to come by and see us. We're downtown Fort Worth. We're at 777 Main Street in Fort Worth, Texas. That's Ranfeld and Associates law firm.
Does Fort Worth ever cross your mind?
It's a good song.
I can't help it. I'm a musician. I
imagine you could play it and sing it as well, right?
I believe I could. So anyway, guys, I want you to get involved with the selfdefensefund.com. Give them a call, 682-238-8161. And Larry Keilberg or Trish over there, either one of them can help you. For $12.50 a month, you guys can put yourself in a situation where not only can you defend yourself physically with a weapon, but you can defend yourself in court for having physically defended yourself with a weapon. It's a shame that we're in that situation, but it's just where we are.
Yes, that is true, and it seems to be increasingly getting worse as time goes on, especially when the political environment seems to be deteriorating on both sides.
Well, you're listening to the Doc Green Show, RagingElePhantsRadio.com. And by the way, Larry, you can download that free app and get fresh Texas news every day, all the time. And we're talking with Larry Keilberg with the SelfDefenseFund.com. And I'm counting on all you guys to check that out and get involved with that the same way that you do with the Doc Green Show every day. I posted the number in the chat room. Guys, light up Trisha's phone over there. She's lonely. She would like to hear from you. The Doc Green Show is going to continue right after this, RagingElePhantsRadio.com. And, of course, if you're not already here in Dallas, you need to be heading this way because the Republican Party convention is getting started. And if you don't get involved in that, you're going to be sorry. So the Doc Green Show is going to continue, and I'll be right back. Thank you, Larry Keilberg.
Thank you, Doc.